Oh, hey. Didn't see you there. I'm just going through Marat, Sade. Actually, it's good you're here because I have a few things I wanted to share. As I take my bath. So as we've discussed in class, there's really two theoretical underpinnings to this play that seem to form a real ideological base for it. We have Bertolt Brecht and Artaud. And I think part of what I want to talk about today is there's actually, I think, a tension between those two theories that form the bedding for the work that they're at odds with each other in a really interesting way, and I don't actually think they're necessarily anything but oppositional. So we have first Brechtian alienation, and then there's the kind of Artaudian theater of cruelty immediacy that is, both are really prominently in the play, and I think they mirror Marat and Sade as a kind of oppositional force in the work. So Marat is on the Brechtian side. He's aligned with the movement, the revolution, organization, analysis, politics, whereas Sade and Artaud align with the sensualists. They're about passion and feeling in the body. Do you hear that? Is there a knocking? Hello? Isaac? Hello? I don't know. Anyway, I'm sure that won't amount to anything. The alienation effect advocate. Hello? Isaac? The alienation effect advocates for, that's a distancing. That removes the viewer from the play, whereas Artaud in the theater of cruelty makes the play so immediate that it's literally upon the audience. There's no difference between the audience and the performers, and in Marat Sade, there's no difference between the audience and the performers in the play, and then in the end, I think that it just turns into chaos where the whole theater is immersed in the performance. It's a frenzied, sensual, bodily mess. And those are really at odds with each other. So Brecht hopes to remove the audience, prevent any kind of immersion that would disrupt analysis so that the viewer can kind of think analytically about what's at work. But Artaud believes the theater can provide an immersion so total that there's no distance between anyone. All cups runneth over in hypersensual chaos. The crowd is the performance spills into the crowd. Brecht is anti-pleasure, you might say, because pleasure is a kind of coercive immersive. It prevents the audience member from really seeing what's going on. And that really sets up this tension in the work, not just between Marat and Sade, but between these two theories of performance. So two passages stick out to me as evidence of this duality in Marat Sade. We have the intensely Brechtian sequence in which Marat's assassination, which is working up to a very sadistic climax, is interrupted by the sung history of the French Revolution. Very alienating, very Brecht. But then Artaudian chaos resumes in the frenzied climax. There's a clear sexual parallel to this interruption that's a little bit sadistic as well. The sensuous Artaudian drive toward frenzied climax is interrupted by a dry, if amusing, Brechtian history lesson. So I think it's sort of unignorable that we're walked through the French Revolution line by line. Suddenly the text resembles one of the teaching plays, the sung teaching plays. Isaac! I don't know. Then it does then it resembles a frenzied ode to human excitement. So if you'll all open your Marat Sade to page 97, we have the lines here. It's so didactic that there are literally dates in the song. Quote, "What brave soldiers we've got," 1797. "Now the traitors are shot. Generals boldly take power in Paris for the people's sake. Egypt's beaten down flat," 1798. Bonaparte did that. Contrast this scene with the Artaudian climax that follows, the Brechtian song and the alienation that comes with it turns into a chant, which is much more Artaudian already, I think, in the chant. It's a bit Dionysian, as we discussed earlier in the semester. There's a high that comes from just the sheer repetition of the chant that I don't like. Yeah, I think makes the transition we can see between these two theoretical bases in the climax of the play. So we'll skip ahead here. In Confused on page 101, but in Confused but rhythmic shouts in time to the marching, so it still resembles a song, but it's much more chaotic. We have cher entend, cher entend, Napoleon, Napoleon, nation, nation, revolution, revolution, copulation, copulation. So this all happens via the last line, which is the most oriented towards Sade, and the body, of course, copulation, copulation. And we see, what was left of the Brechtian alienating song just completely explode into chaos. And in this very, I think, interesting moment, the viewer is suddenly, very removed from the text via the song, very alienated from it, and then right up in the middle of it, because it explodes everywhere. There's a total collapse between performer and audience. It's extremely Artaudian. The shit hits the Artaudian fan. So, in the final scene, it does seem that Artaud triumphs over Brecht a little bit, and I think Sade is it literally has the last laugh in the play. He's cackling as all this stuff goes down. So individualism seems to emerge, at least for the moment, on top, over the quote-unquote movement as Marat is knifed in the bath. And his knifing, of course, is like a very clearly sexually loaded way to die. Isaac, what?